you to the superintendents, the principals, and the guidance counselors who traveled with you here today, because we know that it's been a little challenging, just a little challenging what's going on in these United States. But I'm so glad that you all are courageous enough to come to the Urban League's annual Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Symposium. We have a whole lot of high school students here. You know, 21st Century Charter, if you're here, just wave your hand. Bishop Knoll, Calumet New Tech, Griffith, Hoper, Marquette Catholic School, Maryville, Vista, Thea Bowman, just a number of... West Side Leadership Academy. Is West Side in the house?
They're on their way.
I think they're on their way. The bus is coming. And she said that because I'm also on the board with the Community School Corporation. Our purpose here today is to have courageous conversations on the theme, what is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what is not diversity, equity, and inclusion. You are joined at the table with students and adults who are here to acknowledge your voice. It seems that there's a lot of questions, misinformation, misunderstandings about DEI, and one point of information that I want you to know is the Urban League was organized in 1910 by a black man, George Edmund Haynes, and a white woman who was a philanthropist. Did you know that? So diversity and inclusion began with our organization. If you don't believe me, Google it. I don't think everyone really knows what DEI includes. It includes your disabled neighbor that can only work 4 hours a day, the Down syndrome bagger at Stratton Van Til, one of your stores that you go to, the graduate student that needed additional accommodations just to make it through high school and then enter college. It's not about ethnicity, it's about making sure everyone has equal opportunity to work without being discriminated against. So I'm going to leave you with this quote by a 7th grader from California. I received this quote yesterday, Dr. James Wallace from Indiana University Northwest. This is his cousin who was a 7th grader in California. He won 1st place for Martin Luther King essay. Listen to this. Hold on. Our world has evolved, but the struggles persist. Technology, often celebrated as humanity's greatest innovation, connects us in ways unimaginable. Yet it has become a platform for division, where hate has been amplified and truth has been twisted. This is the 7th grade. And voices are silenced. Social media, designed to empower and unite, too often tears us apart. But we cannot turn away from those challenges. We must act by fostering respect, dialogue, amplifying marginalized voices, and holding platforms accountable for fairness and for truth. We can transform technology into a tool of unity. Freedom must not be a privilege for a few, but a right that's guaranteed to all. The time is now to rise. No longer can we linger in the shadows of complacency. The world is calling for leaders like you, high school students, like you, organizational president, CEO, like you, like me, black, white, purple, green, red. Everybody. Say everybody.
Everybody.
Okay, you know, I'm Dr. Vanessa Allen Cloud. But say everybody.
Everybody.
We want everyone to be included. The world is calling for us, so be bold and be brave. and unwavering. If we don't rise, who will lead the charge? If we don't speak, who will ignite the movement? The movement is now, and it begins with us. So I appreciate you being here. Before I turn it over, I'm going to thank my staff, my team, volunteers, staff of the Urban League. Please wave your hand. Please give them a round of applause. The team, although I am the president and CEO, they really are in charge. It's not me. They run everything, and they tell me where to be, what to do, and what time to be there. And then they tell me to go by the office and pick up some ink pens and markies because we forgot. So that's what you do at 6:30 in the morning. Amen. So right now, I also want to bring our board chair up, and that is our retired chancellor from Ivy Tech, and this is the R. Louis Gonzalez.
Thank you, Dr. McCloud. How do you follow that? So, before I begin my remarks, I just wanted to share something with you. I had lunch with a couple of friends, dear friends of mine. And one friend I've known since high school. And I shared with them about this symposium. And both of them said, wow, things just look so dark, just look so bad. And I was feeling quite the opposite. I said, no, I see this as good because the victory's in the struggle. This is when you discover who you are and where you stand. And then I shared how many young people were going to be here today. And that's when the mood changed. That's when they said, oh, it's not going to be just a lot of old people like you, Louis. I said, no. It's going to be a lot of people who are in high school. I said, and they want to learn. So that's why this is important, because we're going to share with each other and we're going to learn from each other. So young people, I want to thank you. Thank you for being bold and brave and being here today. I think they deserve a round of applause. Dr. McCloud mentioned that I'm retired, been retired now a year and a half, and in that time, I'm still kind of busy, but Dr. McCloud makes sure of that. But I will tell you that I spend more time people watching and also want to know what motivates people to do what they do. And I've always been fascinated by advertising, marketing, how sometimes people will buy things based on what they see on television or on social media. And it's powerful, it does work. But the one motto or slogan that has caught my eye because it's been so successful, it's this marketing motto called judgment-free zone. And so that's clever. And you all know what that is. That's affiliated with Planet Fitness. And it's about welcoming people into the gym in a non-intimidating gym environment. So there's one near my home, and so I actually wanted to go visit it. Didn't necessarily want to sign up for anything. I just wanted to see if it really was true. And the people that were very, the staff there were very accommodating me. So I just said, hey, can I ask you some questions? And they said, sure. Can you tell me, what are you trying to achieve with this judgment-free zone? Because basically what it is, it's just a large gym with a nice color, with purple. That's what I'm wearing here today, right? And I thought, well, there's something very welcoming here. And this is what they shared with me. And I wrote it down, so I'm going to share this with you. This is, Mr. Gonzalez, it's intended to encourage people of all abilities to feel accepted and respected while working out at their own pace. Planet Fitness aims to promote healthy living through exercise without feeling judged. Has this marketing outreach worked for the company? And this is what they shared with me. And I confirmed it on their website. Planet Fitness has become the world's largest gym chain with over 2,600 locations and 19.7 million members. Imagine that, how large that really is. So what is their secret to their amazing success? Planet Fitness doesn't define how their membership should look. They accept you as you are. They want you to feel that you belong. That has become their gym culture, their company culture. That's a smart business plan, isn't it? So why am I sharing this here with you? I want you to know that Urban League of Northwest Indiana, along with its sponsors and supporters, are declaring that today's symposium as a judgment-free zone. Let me repeat that. Today, in this next few hours, this is a judgment-free zone. So we want you to share. We're not going to judge each other, okay? So let me state why this is important. We are not here to judge each other. We are not here to judge people who may see diversity, equity, and inclusion differently than us. But we are here today to do 5 things. To respect each other's views. 2, to share openly and honestly, as Dr. McLeod said, to have those courageous conversations. We are here to listen, to really listen. So before you open your mouth and say something, let your neighbor finish that thought and listen to what he or she is trying to say. We are here today to think in a critical manner, to really allow yourself to let what you're going to hear today, let it soak in and then respond to it. And last but not least, we are here to learn, to really learn, and so we can take this message, the true message of diversity, equity, and inclusion to our neighbors. Wish you all the best of luck today. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Dr. J.D. Lackey, and I'm part of the DEI Symposium team that's responsible for getting us started this morning. I'm having them come up now, and I just want to say that as we look at engaging one another today, we know the climate in which we live in, and as we keep that in mind, I'm hoping that will be fuel to help you decide how you want to participate in today's activities. That being said, I want to introduce my team. I've got Mike Burdo, retired superintendent. I also have Rebecca Reiner, executive director of NEO, and I also have Cynthia Trevino, who's the assistant superintendent of Lake Ridge Schools. We are your DEI Symposium committee for this year. I just want to reintroduce the theme for today, and that is what DEI is and what it is not. And as what's been said so far, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So what we're going to do today is we're going to engage you in some activities to help us have a better understanding of what DEI truly is. So as always, with the Urban League, we're going to put you to work. We're going to put you to work today. So I'd like to start off first by having some presenters on the screen, their brief videos that talk about DEI in terms of what it is and what it is not from their perspective. So we're looking at a person speaking from an educational lens, from a mental health lens, and a young person's lens. But I want to give you a heads up. One of the presenters is not going to say DEI. They're going to use a metaphor, okay? And let me tell you why. You know right now in this climate in the state of Indiana and federally that there are mandates about DEI, about not using DEI. And if you do, and if you're an organization that receives federal or state funds, there could be consequences. So that is the climate in which we are operating in right now, and I want to make that point before we show you the videos. We're going to show them back to back, and then once the videos are shown, Cynthia's going to come up and summarize that, and we're going to keep moving, okay? Here we go.
I would like to talk about diversity, equity, inclusion with respect to education in our schools. Contrary to what is being demeaned about DEI today, DEI is not about giving unfair opportunities to minorities for hiring purposes, for greater instruction for minorities in schools, or for creating guilt in white students or white people, for that matter, with respect to racial incidents in the past. Rather, as demographics change in any organization, community, or school system, there are questions about differences among people from different demographic groups. Answering those questions and discussing those things in a safe environment is what's known as diversity training. It leads to greater understanding of life experiences and generational experiences for people of different demographic groups. As that understanding increases, there's a greater acknowledgement for the need to equalize instruction for students, for example, based on disadvantages or early childhood needs that need to be overcome with respect to education. Those equitable practices could mean more opportunities for success, greater remediation help, use of greater resources. When those are provided to students, as they were in Maryville, you're able to see that despite increasing percentages of students of different race, greater students on free and reduced lunch, that academic improvement would increase as well, especially as measured on state exams. Finally, with respect to inclusion, it means giving the opportunity for students of different demographic groups to recognize contributions that people from their race, nationality, sexual preference, or gender, how they contributed throughout history. Also to see how demographic groups have experienced advantages and disadvantages throughout history. As those understandings increase, when it comes to hiring opportunities, there needs to be the adjustment to eliminate either conscious or unconscious bias due to stereotyping of different demographic groups. Eliminating that creates a level playing field so that people can be truly evaluated based on their merit, their preparation, and their abilities. In today's atmosphere at the state and national level, denigrating DEI, we must remember what the true purposes of DEI are. They are to help us understand life experiences of people from different generations. The concept of being colorblind, unfortunately, really means ignoring those differences, ignoring those past histories which affect current opportunities in today's society. We must overcome this twisted misinformation about DEI in order for truth and justice to continue to prevail in our wonderful country and in our wonderful public schools. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Eric Evans and I serve as the Vice President of Business Development here at the Regional Care Group. I'm also honored to be on the Health, Wellness, and Advisory Co-Chair for the Urban League Board. So I'm here with you today to talk about something that's really critical, and that's bananas. Probably giving you a little bit of an odd look as far as, why are we talking about bananas? Well, what is banana? Banana means making certain that healthcare is fair, that healthcare is welcoming, that healthcare is accessible to everyone. It means that people get access to this care that they need when they need it, no matter what their background is, no matter what their income is, no matter what language they speak. It's about treating people well. It's about treating people when they need help. Here's Regional Care Group. We have a Bananas Committee, and this Banana Committee ensures that we work to have staff that have difficult conversations. We have these uncomfortable conversations. We go through training. We reflect upon our own biases. So that way we can be the best employees, not only to our peers, but then ensure that we can be the best to provide that level of service and care to all of our clients coming through our doors. But now let's talk about what Banana is not. Banana, it's not just a buzzword. Banana is not a box that we're trying to check just to ensure that we're meeting whatever this quota is that people are talking about. Banana is not about making it unfair or giving one person an advantage over another person. Banana, it's about fixing a system that has been broken for decades, for centuries. Banana is about ensuring that when somebody needs access to health care, that they are going to get access to mental health care, physical health care when they need it, that it's going to be quality care, it's going to be service that is going to give them that support that they need so they can be the best versions of themselves that they can be. So our Regional Care Group, we take Banana seriously because people, when they feel safe, when they feel respected, when they feel heard and understood, they actually seek out help. And that's how we're able to change lives, when we care. So we care about Banana. So let's keep it simple. We can be kind, we can be inclusive, and we all can eat a little more fruit.
Hi everyone, my name is Imani Ellis, and let's talk about DEI. DEI is so much bigger than the surface level image that's commonly depicted, right? DEI is understanding the diverse needs of ideas and thoughts and opinions and beliefs that are needed to help us function properly in society. It's also recognizing and acknowledging that the playing field is not always level. And sometimes people are going to need a stronger hand up than others will, right? Example of this would be accommodations such as sensory-friendly environments, as well as equitable parental leave policies. Regardless to the differences, everyone deserves to be included. DEI is create space for people to be loved. Thank you.
Good morning. I think that we can sum up DEI in 3 simple words. Love one another. That's just it. Love one another. And you know, that's been the greatest commandment given to us, was to love one another. But it seems to be humanity's biggest challenge. And you know, as I have thought about what's going on in this country the last several weeks, especially around DEI, and as we've grappled with this, I just thought, you know, I don't know why it's so controversial just to love one another. Why is that? I cannot understand why we are questioning whether we should just love one another and be kind to one another. You know, I was thinking about, my dad just passed away last week, and he always talked to me about how fragile our democracy was. Like, since I was young. My dad was a union plumber, a business agent, you know, so he fought for workers' rights and was a strong union man in our house since I was born. And during his funeral this past week, So many people came that I didn't even know that he influenced over his life, to be strong in our democracy and be strong with workers' rights and the unions. And it just spoke to me a lot thinking about coming here this week about how we have to stand up. Our democracy is fragile. He always said to me, look at the rise and fall of Rome, Cindy. Like they lasted for over 500 years and they fell. And they were one of the greatest civilizations out there. For us to think that the United States could just stand when we're so young and for us to be so naive to think that can't happen to us, it can. But it also can thrive if we just love one another. They say in our Constitution, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You can't pursue those things if you don't have the equitable opportunities to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have to have equitable opportunities. Since the beginning of time, we can see it. Humanity has always either led by love or led by fear. And we've either embraced differences or we've weaponized them. And a lot of the times we've weaponized them just so we can keep power. And we have to think about that as we're going through this time in our current democracy, because we don't want to be like the Roman Empire. We want to thrive. We want to see us succeed. We want to see everyone succeed. We want to embrace everyone with love and light. So just simply put, if you want to take the words DEI out so that you don't have to worry about having funding taken away or be seen in a negative light because you're concerned about how that's going to be viewed through a political lens, then just tell everyone that we're here and what we're going to support is to love one another, no matter who they are, no matter what they stand for. We're here to love one another and be there for one another so that we can have a thriving democracy. Thank you.
I'm confident that there is not a person in this room who didn't take those words to heart and send their support to you on the loss of your father. Well said, Cynthia. In my experience, when there's opposition to any topic, it is important to understand what drives that opposition. Well, what's behind the pushback? So the Urban League Board, in designing the theme of the day, what is DEI and what is not, is very timely because there is opposition. And there's been many references this morning already to it. So we went to the literature and we went to the resources to determine what is it that's behind this opposition to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we found there's a lot of literature, there's a lot of research out there, and we identified one. It's from an organization called Fast Company. And Fast Company is an organization that provides a lot of inspiration and leadership to businesses across the United States. And in an article that was published in April of 2004, there were 4 arguments, as well as responses to the arguments, about opposition to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. I'm going to communicate these to you, and I'm going to ask you to pay very careful attention to each one of these. I'm going to come out there so I can read off of the screen. But pay very careful attention to these arguments because they're going to be essential to the discussions that you're going to participate in at your tables in a few moments. Are you with me? Yes. So if you put argument number 1 up on the screen, and I'll try not to be in anyone's way out here. Yep. Argument 1 against diversity, equity, inclusion. Some people believe that DEI initiatives unfairly prioritize hiring, promoting, and overall advancing underrepresented groups at the expense of others, especially majority groups. Some people believe the only goal of DEI initiatives is to replace white workers with non-white workers. People fear that efforts to address historical inequities will result in unfair treatment or disadvantages for individuals, particularly those that belong to majority groups. People fear the loss of status, authority, and power. Lifting someone up means someone else must come down. Thus, the fear of reverse discrimination. The response in the literature is DEI initiatives are designed to establish fairness for all, not favoritism. Establishing equity means providing everyone the resources to be successful. Recognizing the unique individual needs of a person, not taking anything away from anyone else. DEI initiatives seek an all-inclusive environment, including race, sex, religion, etc. Argument number 2. Political conflict over ideas, opinions of DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are seen by some people, especially people with conservative views, as a radical invention of progressive, left-leaning politics. Words like critical race theory, quotas, and affirmative action are often negatively associated with DEI, creating resistance even if DEI programs do not involve these terms. Opponents believe DEI initiatives are politically driven and want the programs eliminated from public schools, colleges, and government offices. The response? Diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are designed to result in collaboration, not conflict. DEI programs are designed to result in equal opportunity for all people, regardless of political affiliations. The goals of DEI include knowing oneself and learning about others, and thus developing knowledge and diverse perspectives at every level of an organization. These goals are independent of political ideologies. Argument number 3. A perceived threat to merit. Some people believe that DEI programs and establishing diversity goals weaken the hiring, evaluation, and promotion in an organization, and that adding demographic characteristics replace qualifications and ability. People fear hiring, evaluation, and promotion based on merit is threatened. Some people think quality, profits, and production will be reduced by DEI efforts. Opponents fear that affirmative action and diversity goals are a threat to the quality results produced by an organization. The response? Diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are designed to ensure that talent and skills of individuals from all backgrounds is recognized and treated fairly by removing barriers and assuring everyone has access to the same opportunities to demonstrate their merit. The Pew Research Center survey of October 2024, and I'm sure many of you here are familiar with Pew Research. They surveyed American workers believed focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace was a good thing. That's 52% of those workers, against just 21% who felt it was a bad thing, and 26% who said it was neither good or bad. And finally, argument 4 against DEI is titled Misinformation and Misunderstandings. Arguments against diversity, equity, and inclusion are often driven because DEI initiatives are seen as anti-white, as seeking preferential treatment for classes of people, or about lowering standards. People opposed to DEI efforts make negative and disparaging statements about diversity, equity, and inclusion, even when facts don't support them. Some people misuse the meaning of the words diversity, equity, and inclusion, resulting in misinformation and misunderstandings. As an example, a quote by Elon Musk, DEI is just another word for racism. Shame on anyone who uses it. Social media statements blaming DEI for the current recent wildfires because Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is black, and the city's fire chief, Kristen Crowley, is the first woman and openly queer person to lead the department. Utah Governor Phil Lyman blaming Maryland Governor Wes Moore, who is black, for the Baltimore bridge collapse. And the quote was, "This is what happens when you have governors who prioritize diversity over the well-being and security of citizens." And the response? Diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives emphasize conversations and actions that promote unity and collaboration in organizations and communities. DEI is designed for people to understand one another and negate the biases we all have, thus resulting in fairness for all. Mark Cuban quotes, "Good businesses look where others don't, to find employees that will put your business in the best possible position to succeed. Having a workforce that is diverse and representative of your stakeholders is good for business." And I do want to end with this clarification of equality, equity, and systemic change. There's an example that some of you may have read, using monkey bars. Coming out of my career after 47 years, I had a lot of contact with kids, and one of the favorite places I would go when things got tough was go to the kindergarten and get on the playground with them. You'll really get the real deal with 5-year-old kids, believe me. But nonetheless, in this example real quick, equality, a student falls off the monkey bars and hurts his or her arm. The adult comes over, puts a Band-Aid on the arm. Another student falls off the monkey bars and hits his or her head. The adult comes over and puts a Band-Aid on his or her arm. That's equality. Everybody gets treated with the same treatment. Equity, on the other hand, a student falls off the monkey bars and hurts his or her arm, they get a Band-Aid on the arm. The student falls off the monkey bars and hurts his or her head, the adult comes over, puts an ice pack on the head, and maybe a bandage. Okay? Equitable treatment. You adjust the treatment based on what the need is. And systemic change. All kind of kids are falling off the monkey bars. The adults get together and decide these monkey bars aren't safe. Let's redesign the monkey bars, dismantle the old one, and put the new one up so that we have a safer environment for kids. Systemic change is very important in consideration in order to make progress, whether it's on the playground with monkey bars or in the organization. You're going to use this information at your tables, and to guide you in that experience, Rebecca Reiner from NEO, Neighborhood Educational Opportunities, will describe to you what your task with your teams at the table are going to be beginning in a few moments.
And after Rebecca gets ready to give you instructions, I want to make sure that all the high school students are settled in, have a place to sit. I will say this, if you're a high school student and you're sitting at a table that's almost all high school students, if you're adults sitting at a table that's almost adults, look around and let's mix it up a bit, because what makes these conversations fruitful is when we have a really good mix of adults and students at the table. So for example, there are a bunch of students at this table here. I don't see any adults, so we could use a few adults to move up to this front table here. There's about 3 chairs. We could move that would be great. We want that adult perspective along with the student perspective. We could move. If there are other adult tables where you have only 1 or 2 students and you have an empty seat, raise your hand. Maybe some of our students can move to your table as well. So if you're, yes. So students, if you're at a table with primarily students, go to one of those tables where there are more adults. You want to mix it up. Raise your hand again, please, adult tables, so we can see you. Adult tables where you have more adults. So there's 2 tables right here. If students could move, if you're at a table with lots of students, so that we can have representation at those tables as well, that would be great.
Dr. Rock, adult table.
Can we have an adult table over there on my far right? We need some students over there as well. If we could change up and send a few students over there, that would be great. Students going to go over there? I'm going to ask one of you guys to go to the table back there if you don't mind. Raise your hand, please, adult table. If you could go back there, that'd be great. Sam? Okay. We could still use another adult up here. If you have a table full of adults, if an adult would come up here at this front table, that would be great. Okay, we got a whole student table. We got to bust this up. This is not going to work, students. We need some adults at this table. So I want 2 of you students to get up right now. 2 of you stand up. 2 stand up. 2 stand up. 1 more. I need 1 more to stand up. And go back to the table over there in the corner. I need 1 more. Thank you. If you would move, that would be great. We need okay, I need 1 more student from this table to get up. Young lady right here, would you mind getting up? And young man, would you mind getting up and going back to the table here? They need another student. Or young man, either way. You guys choose who wants to go. And Kobe, would you choose one of them and have them go back there? This is taking too long. We got to get going. We got a limited amount of time. Thank you. All right. Are we good? Very good. Thank you. You need 1 more? I need 1 more student. 1 more student from this table as well. Would you be willing to move? Yes, come. I want you to go back there. Thank you so much.
All right, now we get the fun part. Taking all these ideas, all this information into action can be daunting, especially when every day we're bombarded with, what do I do, what do I do? At your table, you all have a copy of one of the arguments that Mr. Berta just read to you. You have a task. The task is to think about this argument through the lens of the 2 questions that are on your paper. I'm going to read those questions now. What do you identify as the driving force behind this argument? Can you hear me now? What do you identify as the driving forces behind this argument against DEI? So really look at that one argument, think about those driving forces. And then think about this and discuss this with your table mates. What specific actions do you recommend to deploy to counteract this argument against DEI? And this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that you can take back to your own lives, in your interactions with colleagues, with family members, with friends. These are the actions that you can take back to your schools, to your communities. These are the actions that you can promote to go and address more systemic changes that need to happen. You're only going to have about 20 minutes to do this. We'll be the timekeepers for you. You need to address or assign 1 person from your table to be the scribe and to write these ideas down that you generate when you get to the 2nd question. Those are the summaries of what your table has come up with. You can use the QR code and submit your collective responses through that Google form that will have it. So identify 1 person, and then you will have 1 person that when we're done with this, we will have a report out from all the tables, from all the table questions. 1. Yeah, we'll have 2 marks, and people will ask you to come up and line up, and we will have report outs on that. So does everybody have somebody at your table that can access the QR code? I'm sure somebody can do that. And decide who's going to help lead this conversation, facilitate this, and then who will be the one that will speak out. So again, you're looking at your watches, your clocks, you've got 20 minutes to delve into these 2 questions. And you may start. Thank you.